Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of The 411, your favorite health and wellness hub. Now you're probably wondering, Kiki, where are you going, girl? You about to be outside because I'm dressed up. This is the first episode, full disclosure, I've even ever worn shoes for. Shout out Mista, because these boots will be living on my feet. They literally just came in a few minutes ago, and they're incredible. But everything I'm doing right now wearing is for a reason. I got the Gucci frames on. I got the Mista boots on. I got the leather jacket on. I dressed up to feel incredible. And you know why? Because when I woke up this morning, I was not feeling incredible. So before we get into this, let me take off the jacket because I am in my heated house. You know, black people, we don't play with the heat, and it's a sauna in here. So I'm going to take off the jacket. I'm going to take off the glasses, and we're really going to get into the truth about adulting. So like I was saying, when I first woke up this morning, guys, it's been a while. So long, in fact, that the feeling was so unfamiliar, I physically couldn't get out of bed. And there were a few things contributing to that. First, I was so jet lagged. I got back from New York City yesterday morning. So I did the overnight flight where I left New York at 8 p.m. So I landed in London at 7:30 a.m. And if you've done that route before, you know the key to getting back on schedule for London time is staying up all day. So then you go to bed at a normal time to then be on normal schedule. But why my body decided she didn't want to do that? I did sleep the whole plane ride, and then I fell asleep for like a short 20-30 minute nap. And then I forced myself to stay awake. I had coffee, which is something I don't suggest you do. My mom actually, I was just in New York and she told me she gave up caffeine, and my mom has really bad anxiety. So if you have bad anxiety, I mean, this is a known fact, but take away coffee specifically, because matcha still works for me when you're feeling anxious. And I think because I was so tired, I started to feel anxious. So then I took coffee to force myself to stay awake. So the brain just started moving. And so then when it was actually time to go to bed and Johnny and Murphy are falling fast asleep and it's 10 p.m., my behind couldn't sleep. I literally started watching some interior designer show about famous LA interior designers who don't work for a budget under $1 million. When I heard that, I was like, Kiki, stack your cookies up, because the fact that people's budgets are $1 million, granted, it was like Sharon Osbourne, you know what I mean, Ellen Pompeo, like celebrities, but that's not on topic. My point is, I ended up staying up till 2 a.m. So then when it was time to wake up, I felt so bad. I can't explain it. Like, I don't know if anyone has ever had this, but the body physically wouldn't wake up. And with this, I think it was a physical tiredness. I was going to say tiration, physical tiredness. But then being so tired then made my mind get into a really bad funk. And I think at the core of it, when I woke up, I didn't hear my mom. I didn't hear my grandma. My home dog, Bootsie, if you see my Instagram feed, you already see the queen. Like, she slept with me. And it reminded me of back when I used to live at home. Like, you already know I have Murphy. But Murphy is like my son. Whereas like Bootsie feels like my protector. You know what I mean? Like, I'm protecting Murphy and Bootsie's protecting me. So to wake up every day, and she was always at the foot of my bed, everywhere I went, my sis was right there. Let me tell you, bathroom, there. Kitchen, there. Like, I needed to go for a drive. So that's another thing I love about being home. I have a car and you can drive around, and there's something for me really freeing and therapeutic about driving. And I'm not, you know what I mean? When I go for drives, I kind of just want to be in my own company plus Bootsie. And so Bootsie be in the front seat. I literally include a photo here, and we were just blasting music and driving around. And so immediately when I woke up, and for the first time ever, I can't explain it, my apartment that I love, I'm being completely 100% too right now, because I feel like haven't been this raw and authentic in a long time, because I actually haven't felt like this in a long time. But I love my apartment. It's like designed to the T, but it was the first time I woke up, I was like, I really just don't want to be here. Like, I was over the decor. I was over the design. Like, I could feel myself being moody to Johnny and Murphy, because obviously I associate them to this apartment. And I just internally really started to fall apart, because I was like, what is happening? And this is just a sign and a reminder that if you're feeling this way, I'm going to tell you the things I did that was around 7 a.m. It is now around 2 p.m. And I feel amazing. I already feel so much better. And this is what I'm trying to say. It's normal, one, to have these feelings. It's normal to have those emotions. But most importantly, you just have to take that first step. So let's get into my first step. Now, I originally wasn't going to plan to film today, but I had to, because this episode is literally coming out tomorrow. But I'm so glad I did, because if I didn't have on schedule filming and knew Chloe was coming over, I'm telling you right now, I would have stayed in bed all day. I would have moped. I would have just gotten myself deeper and deeper and deeper into this funk. And the longer you stay in the funk, the harder it is to get out of it. I mean, we've all been there, and it's a slippery slope. I actually went to Sunday school when I was back in Brooklyn to church. It was non-negotiable. My grandma was like, you will be up in Sunday school. But it was really nice because we all went as a family. Johnny came, and it just reminded me how the lessons they talk about in Sunday school are so spot on and so accurate about life. And if you're not a super religious person, I challenge you to go to your local church, Black church. I can't speak for the other churches. I go to a Baptist church, and if it's too intrusive, fine, but do your best. I go to Bethany Baptist Church. So if you're in the Best Side area, I challenge you to go to a Sunday school. It's the adult class. Ask for Deacon Christian, my grandma. Join the class. She's incredible. But if you can just take out the word God, if that's a bother for you, and just put in the knowing and reassurance that there's a greater source, whether you say universe, whoever out there, that's helping us guide the way. But one of the lessons we talked about is when you don't do the everyday small steps, you then lead to bigger problems. So we talked about how sometimes it's like, oh, I have a bunch of dishes, I'll do it later. Oh, my living room is dirty, I'll do it later. I'm supposed to pick up food for the dog, I'll do it later. And by pushing all these small steps back, they're only leading to bigger problems, because by the time you push everything back to do later, you have so much to do and you're so overwhelmed, you feel discouraged. And that would have happened to me today. It's so crazy because I just had that lesson, and in my head I'm like, Kiki, you know what's about to happen to you if you stay in this bed and if you stay in this funk. But that's just how strong the mind is, guys. Like, when you are in a weird place, you know what I mean? You're in a weird place. And I know you guys are thinking like, Kiki, you were just home. Like, usually when I leave home, I feel recharged to then come back to London. But I think this was the first time in a long time. It almost felt like I left prematurely, you know what I mean? And like, usually my brother and I leave on the same day. He's still there. So like, all of that was playing in my head. And then my mom and brother sent me selfies being like, good night, Kiki, movie night. And I was like, okay. You know, you're like, all these things are just making me feel so sad. And I just can't explain. I feel really blessed and fortunate that I grew up in a home that makes me feel so safe. I feel so loved. I feel so supported. And I just really miss that. And I really do think it was a blessing to be there. Even, guys, something as simple as this. When we make these episodes, like, I'm assuming people listen, but I'm really just doing this from the bottom of my heart to hopefully share my honest experience and my journey of what I've accomplished, so then you can benefit from it. I don't read stats. I don't know who the viewers are. But like, I would wake up, one morning I woke up and I was like, is that me? And it was my mom listening to my podcast on speaker while she's doing the dishes. And she was like, Kiki, this is so good. And then I saw she was on like the most up-to-date episode. And I was like, you listen to these every week? She was like, oh yeah, every week. Like, and they said it kind of like, what else would we be doing? Then I'm leaving my house, I'm walking off my block, and I hear my voice again. And I'm like, okay, where is this voice coming from now? And it's my grandma listening to the podcast on her speaker in her car. And so it just reminded me, when I'm home, I like physically see, you know what I mean, all the support around me. And the hard truth about adulting when you decide to grow up, move out, do your own thing is you aren't daily reminded of the people that have your back, the people that are supporting you without even telling you. Like, a part of me was like, oh my God, my mom and grandma didn't even tell me they listened. But the beauty is they don't have to tell me. You know what I mean? It actually made me feel special, because I think if they told me, it kind of would have been like almost like an isolated situation. Like, oh yeah, we listened to that one time. But just hearing how they listen, you can tell they've integrated my podcast into their daily routines. Like, my mom's like, no, when I wake up and do the morning dishes, I'm listening to your podcast. And my grandma's like, oh yeah, when I drive around, I'm listening to the podcast. And at Thanksgiving, my mom was like, everyone better listen to my daughter's podcast. Like, the love was overwhelming. And I think because I have that love, there's a sense of security I feel when I'm back in Brooklyn. Again, I was born and raised in Brooklyn. All my friends now live in the city. So you have that immediate support system. But if you're like me and if you've moved literally to another continent, be proud of yourself. That is no easy feat. And I think I've kind of had the first time in a long time where I'm reminded that like what you did in this move is incredible, and it's hard work, and it's not for the weak. And seeing how I felt so sad today and unable to get out of bed made me grateful and appreciative of all my hard work of when I do just like actively go about my schedules. Like I've been on such a strict routine for so long where wake up at 7:30, you know what I mean? Make my matcha, do my morning pages, go for a morning walk, hit Nobu Pilates, come back, knock out probably like 4 videos, may hang out with people after, but I've been on that schedule for so long that I really think I started to take for granted how incredible of a routine and regimen I'm on. So this morning, I just, again, was almost like overwhelmed with gratitude for how just like what I've created and the schedule I've made. And it just helped me see that how I'm feeling is normal and you'll all get through it. And I think a key part of having this is a support system. I literally was so communicate with your friends. I literally told Chloe, like, I don't know why I cannot get out of bed. And she was like, listen, I'm in a great mood. I'm going to share that great mood with you because I do think good energy is contagious. And she came and planning stuff when you are not in a good mood is also the key because it forces you to get out this funk. Like, I'm not kidding. When she first came to the house, you should have seen the outfit I wore to get a matcha. I think people probably thought I just escaped the local mental asylum. Like, I looked insane. But I got matcha, which was really helpful for me. We went for about a 20-minute walk. Incredible. By the time I came back from the walk, I actually felt the serotonin pockets popping out of my brain. Like, it was just so nice to talk to her about how I was feeling. And you need to have a strong support system around you that you can be honest about and you don't feel judged, you know what I mean? So you can just quite literally say what's on your mind. And this is a newer feeling. Like, sometimes with old friends, I used to be going through things and be like, ugh, I don't really want to, like, if I'm being completely transparent, being back in New York City, just surrounded by, I live in a house of women plus Mikey, and then coming back to my apartment where me and Johnny share, I was like, wait, I live with a boy? Like, what is this? Like, it just like freaked me out that I lived with a boy. And because I haven't seen Johnny for a week and a half, I really enjoyed that independence and like back in my own room with my own bed. And like, you know, when you go in that bedroom and when you lay down, nobody else is going to be in there but you. Like, I really missed and I enjoyed that. So I just felt incredible that I was able to like share that with Chloe and not be judged. You know what I mean? Sometimes you talk about your boyfriends and the friends will be like, that's bad, da, 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 da. And it's like, no, it's not bad. Like, stop judging so quickly, so fast. Just listen and be of support. And she did that. And by just communicating how I felt, going for a walk, by the time I came back to my front door, I was a different person. And I was like, Kiki, you're feeling different, which is always the key. I didn't actually care that I looked like a deranged individual. I just was more like internally, I hope I feel better. And when I internally made that shift, that is then when, bam, you see the baddie looking at you right now. I came in, I did my morning pages. Me and Chloe talked through a plan of everything we were going to film, everything we were going to record. I was in such a good mood. I kept saying, I'm going to shower about 20 different times because that's how many ideas were finally flooding to me. And that's another thing. When I first woke up this morning, the brain was so blank. I'm not even kidding. In a way that I haven't seen the brain blank like that in a long time. Like, there was no idea. There was just like not a thought like going through the head. And I have a big head. There's a lot of thoughts that just should be circling here. And there was just nothing. And so to have ideas just like spewing in my brain nonstop made me feel good. I was like, your girl is back. And rather than, I think, judging what I was seeing and judging how I felt, I communicated. Obviously, I went to Johnny and was like, okay, this is kind of a adjust. I don't know why, but I really love being back at Agate. I miss my family. Let your partner know how you're feeling. I was like, Kiki, what about the apartment is making you feel like black? And I think I love change, and I physically have felt myself enter a new era, and I want the apartment to reflect that. So I mean, that's simple. Literally, once I decided, like, I'm going to get 2 new rugs and get some artwork, I already see the vision in a different light. Like, already now when I'm looking around my apartment, I just have that ability where in my head, I see what I want, even if it's not there, and you can see the final product, you can see the vision. And now that I see the vision, I'm like, hello, new apartment. Like, I just feel really excited about what's to come. But it took steps. Again, I don't mean to repeat myself, but it took forcing yourself to wake up. And when I say force yourself to wake up, I know this is going to sound gross. And now that my mom and grandma listen to this, do not judge me. But if that means you need to go for a walk and maybe skip brushing your teeth and brush your teeth when you come back, do what you need to do, because I think fresh air is the answer. Like, but so is self-care. When you go for the walk, then you come back. I did my skincare routine. I don't even need to get into what that did to me. I did my makeup today. I don't know if you guys can tell, but your girl is slaying. I got a bunch of new products when I was in New York City. I just need to flex for a little because when I walked in, my mom laid all the products that I had sent to me in New York, and the amount of Dior, I mean, call me Miss Dior at this point, because I just felt so accomplished. That's just the only word I can explain to it, because for me, Dior and for millions of other people are like the it girl beauty product brand, point blank period. So to see them showing so much love to me. I mean, they sent me the blush. They sent me the lip oil. They sent me a lip balm. They sent me the Miss Dior perfume. Like, guys, there was not one flop. Eyeshadow. I mean, I can get into it. They sent me so many products. So that's what I'm wearing today. I just feel really incredible. I have my new bodysuit from Aloe that has your girl so snatched. By the way, I was going to say, maybe the sale is still going on. They were having an incredible 30% sale off. So I got 2 pairs of like yoga pants that I also wore traveling, and I looked fly. I got this bodysuit. I got Mista boots, because that's a conversation for another day. Your girl is in the process of building a capsule wardrobe of just stable pieces and like rebranding myself. And you're looking at day 1 of the rebrand. And I really just love the woman I see looking back at me. Like when I looked in the mirror, I finally was like, because I'm not hyper. I feel like this is like some people may agree, some people may disagree, but I would argue that I'm not really into clothes. Other people say, Kiki, yes, you are. You literally look so stylish and dress up all the time. And it's like, yes, I care about how I present myself to the world, but I won't say I necessarily get like insane fulfillment from clothes. I do like how it can express my personality, but I can't be depressed and in a nice outfit. You know what I mean? That doesn't work. If I'm not doing some kind of charity or giving back, if I'm not doing my skincare, if I'm not protecting my mental health, the clothes mean nothing. And so I appreciate what I'm seeing in the outfit I'm presenting to you guys now, because I've worked on my mind and fulfilling my heart and soul and honestly life's purpose about talking about mental health and all these things. So then the outfits can mean a lot. But that was such a tangent. I literally lost track of what I was saying. But back on the rebrand, when you see your girl styling and profiling on the gram, on TikTok, just know that took work. A lot of people like to act like they just woke up like this, like Beyonce says, and just put on some Slade outfit. No, I was doing research. I went on Pinterest. You know me with the mood boards. I created a visual of not really the clothes I wanted, but the way I wanted to feel and what the like aesthetic I wanted people to take from what I was wearing. And just from that, I got into the products that I wanted. And I think by the time this comes out, the Black Friday sales are over. And I never participated in Black Friday, but your girl, she participated, because I'm all about saving a coin. I have so many new goals for 2024 that don't involve shopping. They involve like growing the Kiki name and my brand and the podcast. And so I'm really excited to just invest 100% into this and my mental health outreach, you know what I mean? Eventually starting my own charity and really creating a foundation that physically has impact. I mean, just being back in Brooklyn, the thing I love the most about being from Brooklyn, specifically Bed-Stuy, is Emma Grede talked about this in her Jay Shetty episode. She's from East London, and she talked about how now, I mean, you know, if you don't know Emma Grede, she's the brains and founder behind Skims, Good American, and she has another brand. I think it's like kitchen products, but she's from East London, and she talks about when you have grown up and seen people work jobs, not careers, jobs where they don't have a choice. They hate their job, but they wake up every day and go to work because they have to. And I think moving to where I live in London, I mean, I love my home. I had a very, I think for my neighborhood, privileged upbringing, you know what I mean? But that doesn't mean different lives and different realities were across the street. I mean, that's New York City. You can live in like a penthouse apartment and right across the street will be a project. And it's the daily reminder that like life is not fair. Life is very unequal. I mean, there's the lottery of birth. I got born into my family, but there's other people born into way worse, like horrible families. You know what I mean? And we don't have a choice about that. And where I live in London, I will argue, I'm looking around, looking at my windows, I'm like, not much reminders here that people don't have without. And it's very easy to forget. I feel like the easiest way is to say like forget where you come from, but it's very easy to forget like people are struggling. And that's why I love going back to Brooklyn, specifically Bed-Stuy, to see the mental health crisis that was going on, to see the housing crises that are going on, to see businesses, Black-owned businesses that I love so much go out of like be bought out by these like huge new building conglomerates, to see landmarked buildings being taken down. That stuff breaks my heart, because the reason why I love Bed-Stuy specifically is it's famous for those brownstone townhouses, and I just feel so privileged that I have one. But like to be knocking down homes that were built in the 1800s that still look incredible with brick that you can't find anymore today, I'm like, that's just unacceptable to me. So I really do feel like going home this last week refigured my brain of what's important to me. And I really have a goal. I'm saying it to you guys now because I'm manifesting it and you heard it here first. Next year, I will be donating to organizations. I will be actively taking a stance in preserving old homes, helping mental health, because I think mental health is in a lot of families. It's in my family for sure, but seeing the way it's like taking over New York City was really disheartening for me. And I know it's not easy solutions, but there are some easy solutions that we can do where it's like providing more housing, providing clothes, all the makeup and skincare. I have so much product. I'm packaging that up to give. There's a lot of people who try to go on job interviews. I'm not saying that makeup is their first priority, but why are they not allowed and omitted from feeling their most incredible self? So yes, that was just me to say the focus has changed. So in 2024, when you see the outfit slaying, no, that was the work of 2023, because 2024 is all about just elevating everything we're doing and making it impact. And if I seem super passionate, it's because I am. I feel like no one wants to help people anymore. We've really kind of evolved into a more selfish society, and I'm not really sure where that comes from. So I'm sure there's like obvious examples of where that comes from, but it really hurts me and it pains me and it just makes me feel so empty. And so that's why I really feel as a society, we have a duty, and not just a job, a duty to share the wealth, share the resources, and know that as a community and a society, we can be such a better group of people. Again, like I said, I grew up in the church. I've been surrounded by so many communities, the church, my family. My mom had really good best friends, and they've all equally attributed to the woman I am today. And I needed all of them, you know what I mean? And it just proves to you, I mean, I don't know if many of you know, and I wasn't raising my dad. And like, obviously me and my dad are close now, but growing up, we weren't like that close. But because I had that other element of community, I never felt without. I never felt like a deficit, you know what I mean? I know people with two parents who felt emptier than I did. But I know it comes back to community and really feeling deep in your heart, others are there to help you. And it just puts the world back in balance. God, they said this in church that really resonated to me, that tomorrow it could be you. And you may think like that would never be me, but it really could be you, where you lose all your money, you're on the side of the street, you have a mental health break, and you just need someone to lend a helping hand, share their food, share their money. Maybe just share an ear. Sometimes people just need you to listen to them because no one's listened to them in so long. And I really just want to challenge us, at least the Kiki community, because we're small, but we're mighty and we can make a change. And so that's what we're about to do. And circling it back to mental health, I mean, it just goes back to when I couldn't get out of bed this morning. That was the mental not helping, you know what I mean? And I feel really good that just in just a few hours, I was able to switch up how I was thinking and be at a better place and be able to sit here and film this episode for you. Because in this morning I was like, am I going to be able to film the episode? And like, especially because originally the episode was going to be on how to rebrand yourself. And I just was like, Hiki, you literally feel like crap. How can you talk about rebranding yourself right now? So I'm actually glad I had the morning that I had, because it completely changed the discourse of what we were going to talk to you about today. And I just feel like it's needed. And I feel like, again, being back in New York City and London too, this is a global issue. You know what I mean? The world is hurting. I talked about this in my previous episode. The world is hurting both on a macro level and a micro level. And the conversation just needs to be had. So we're going to have it. So on the conversation of adulting, I just want to remind, if you're feeling everything I just talked about, you're not going backwards. I think there's this misconception that if you're not adulting the right way, if you still need to call your mom and cry, if you want to say I'm homesick, I just want to hug my grandma, that you're almost like a child again. And there's honestly nothing wrong with being a child. My mom is my mom, and she still needs her mom. My grandma, her mom has passed away, and she still talks about her mom. I think that's just a natural experience and emotion to feel, to lean on the people who provide you comfort. Life is hard, and that is just the way it is. And I just want to remind you, as someone who's 27 years old, I'm an adult. It's so funny. I feel like I had to say that to you guys to prove to you guys like I am an adult. But no, 27 is a older, mature age. I mean, in the next few years, I'll definitely be considering about having kids and bringing in my own new life. And I will always want them to feel that they can come to me when I'm 150, because I am living for a long time, and they're however old. I want them to still like, Mom, can you come over? I wasn't feeling good today, because that's what I'm there for. I'm literally gonna be taking my walker and I'm going to go to their house and be there of support. And there's no right way to adult. That's basically what I'm trying to say. Everyone acts like there's this guidebook, like you get a job, you work hard, you get married. Like life can be done in these steps. And that's just not life. Like, live it by the day. Recognize how you feel in that moment and honor each and every, I don't know how to say it, but just honor who you are by the day and know that the way you're living your life, that's your definition of adulting. The way I live my life, that's Kiki's version of adulting. I see some people who think that adulting means you have to work a 9 to 5. I don't work a 9 to 5. I mean, in that case, I would never be an adult. You know what I mean? So find your own definition of adulting. And by finding it, I mean, just understand that you're adulting if you wake up every morning, if you can get out of bed, if you can brush your teeth, if you can feed yourself, if you can house yourself, if you have a job, you are adulting and you're doing an incredible job at it. And it is no easy feat. I mean, again, I love Jay Shetty and all the amazing guests he brings on. And again, I think Emma Green did a good job of saying, like, sometimes you have to work a lot of crappy jobs before you get your dream job. But when you were doing all those jobs, you were adulting. Sometimes you have to work for a boss that you literally are like, I will kill you, but you don't. But that's adulting. You know what I mean? Sometimes you have to go through a terrible relationship to realize what you want out of a partner, but that's adulting. There is no right way to adult. And I feel like I'm almost talking to my younger self because I definitely was that girl in high school who was like, but I remember I was like, I used to journal a lot. Not a lot has changed. I used to journal. I used to collage. I didn't know, or I don't even know if there was Pinterest back then, but I would like cut out of magazines being like, by 25, guys, I was convinced that I would be married, fat rock. I don't even want that anymore. Like, it was just crazy, the reality I wanted. I was definitely on my second kid at 25. Isn't that crazy? It's so funny when I think about this because I'm like, what job did I see myself having back then? But because your girl wasn't really working. So I'm like, was that a stay-at-home wife? Which is me today could never. The fact that you think I'm wasting this brain. Sorry, that sounds mean. As if stay-at-home parents waste their brains. But I have to be actively stimulated and it needs to be outside of children. You know what I mean? I've also grown up in a house of women and who were constantly working. So I need that. But again, to my younger self, and if you were like me listening, being like, at this age, I'm gonna do this. At this age, I'm gonna do that. And I think it's societal pressure. It can be peer pressure. It can be familial pressure. There's so many pressures that can be happening. But I want to let you know that it doesn't work out that way. I'm 27. I mean, I'm blessed to be in a loving partnership. I'm not stressed. I don't care when I get married because now my theory is if you found the person you love and you want to be with for the rest of your life, what does a ring do to it? That's just my personal opinion. I love my job. Me in high school never thought I would be working in social media, doing content creation. I remember I used to watch Patricia Bright. I was obsessed with her. If you don't know her, I loved her YouTube channel. And it never was like, oh, one day I want to be her. I just remember I like admired her and looked up to her and never once saw me as her. So your realities of what you think is going to be your reality as a child is not going to be your reality when you get older. And I think that's a amazing thing. I mean, the times are changing, you know what I mean? And so will your brain, so will your mind. And I think the one word to basically describe all I'm talking about is evolving. You're gonna evolve and understand how you want to define life, what happiness means to you, what success means to you. And it's going to look different, maybe from your parents, from your friends, but as long as it's your definition of success, I mean, literally, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Because if you're around people who respect you and love you and appreciate you, they're going to honor your definition of happiness the same way you should honor their definition of happiness and vice versa. So yes, do it. If you're like, oh my God, I go out for a cocktail 3 times a week, honey, if that's your version of adulting, do what you got to do. If you still go to a painting class, pottery class, I almost feel like to be a true adult, you have to tap into that inner child and do the things that inner you love to do. The same way I said I love to collage. I used to love to journal. I still journal. I still draw. The other day I got all my markers and sat at my green table with a bunch of papers and just drew whatever came to mind. And it was so freeing and so liberating for me. And I think as we get older, we strain away from the things that made us happy as a child because we're feeding into these preconceived notions of what adulting means. And I don't know who made these adulting rules, but they weren't made for all of us. And I'm here to say you need to make your own rules. So I hope this random ramble and spiel was super helpful. I mean, again, guys, the thought came to me right away because it was literally how I was feeling a few hours ago. And I really just had to share in the hopes. I feel like I think because I just came back from church, I was sharing a testimony. Amen. And I just want you all to learn and feel from me, and in the hopes that you feel a lot better after listening to this episode. So on that note, I'm going to wrap up. I'm going to put on my leather jacket. I'm going to put on my sunnies, and I'm going to go to the grocery store because I just got the Slap Ya Mama seasoning, and I brought it back to the UK, and I'm going to make some fried chicken because that is what I'm craving and that is what I want. So, kidding. Talk to you later. Mwah. Bye.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Today is Tuesday, August 29th. There will never be a Tuesday, August 29th, 2023. Actually, there will never be this moment or this second or this hour. Be positive, be happy, drink your water, be joyful, be thankful. Do not compare yourself to others. The goal in life is to define what makes you happy is you against you.